Hi everyone, you are all welcome once again to my Blockbuster TV, the home of all your movies reactions and movie reviews. And I hope you're good wherever you are watching this broadcast from. So for today's movies content, I'm going to talk about a new seasonal movie that's in town. This movie is actually top notch. Finally, The Witcher season 4 is out, and I'm so glad that I'm doing this podcast with you guys today. So for this movie's content, in this review, I'm going to give you a total breakdown about this movie, The Witcher season 4, then after which I'll give you the conclusion, which comprises the rating as well. So if you're watching this podcast and you haven't yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, like and share this video, and also comment down in the comment section and tell us everything on your mind that you want to share with us. The Witcher season 4, it has 8 episodes. Episode 1, What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger. Episode 2, Dream of a Wish Fulfilled. Episode 3, Trial by Ordeal. Episode 4, A Sermon of Survival. Episode 5, The Joy of Cooking. Episode 6, Twilight of the Wolf. Episode 7, What I Love I Don't Carry. And Episode 8, The Baptism of Fire. So before we start this, I have to take you through a flashback of what happened in the final episode of season 3 for better understanding. After the final battle between Geralt and Voggavots, when Geralt lost and was left greatly injured, many thought he was dead. But at the same time, Ciri of Cynthia, she used her powers to destroy the hemispheres and she brought down the Tower of Magic at Dentel. She decided to bury her powers within her. She changed her name for Cirilia to Falcao and she abandoned her family, Geralt and Yennefer. She claimed that they were better off without her. Geralt, a powerful Witcher and the destined father of Cirilia. Yennefer, one of the most powerful mage ever seen and a lover to Geralt. And finally, Cirilia, the prophesied reincarnation of El Shaddai, the last being with the elder blood, destined to unite and to rule all kingdoms, and also the destined child of Geralt and Yennefer, his lover. These three individuals, they were once united together, but once again, they were all lost at this point. Meanwhile, Emily, the king of Nilfgaard, who claims to be the biological father of Cirilia, he desperately wanted Ciri so that he can sleep with her to produce a son and heir with Elder's blood power. But he was tricked by Voggavots, a sorcerer, who also wanted Cirilia in order to drain completely her blood and use it for his own selfish reasons. So he presented an imposter of Cirilia to Emily. So this is just a summary of the final episode of what took place in season 3 for better understanding. Then coming down to season 4 of The Witcher, we'll start with the first episode, What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger. Yennefer continued her search for Voggavots across the continent to avenge for what he did to Geralt, and at the same time to stop him from fulfilling his evil plans with Ciri, her daughter. But Geralt never gave up. He teamed up with Jaskier and a lady, Meriva, who was very good with arrows. So they all came together to look for Ciri, but on their way, they came across Cahill, a former Nilfgaard high-rank soldier who was tasked to capture Ciri for Emily in the previous episode and seasons, but now is free and is fighting against Emily. Ciri, who is now known as Falca, she disappeared in thin air and she joined a gang of thieves called the Rats. These rats, they rob people and they take deals of stealing and kidnapping for survivors. At the meantime, Emily, king of Nilfgaard, due to his greed, he was passionate of becoming the sole emperor of all kingdoms, and he was busy conquering other kingdoms and taking them into his possession. But over time, Emily discovered that the lady in his possession was not Cirilia, rather an imposter, but he kept this as a secret to himself to prevent scandal in his kingdom. Then Geralt, Jaskier, and Meriva, during the course of their journey in search of Cirilia, they ran into a team of dwarfs, Zontel and Percival, who were taking a girl named Bianca to a refugee camp to unite with her family. So after Geralt and his team, they agreed to help these dwarfs to complete their delivering. These two dwarfs joined them in the search of Cirilia. When Yennefer returned to Aretuza, the coven of mages, she informed the survived mages that Voggavots wanted to eliminate all of them to become the sole powerful sorcerer, that they need to invite all survived mages and elves in order for them to team up together for their future and also to defend the attack against the Voggavots. But the other remaining kingdoms in the north, then they decided to team up to stand against Emily. Queen Mervel of Rivia, King Radovid and the others, they all teamed up together to protect the north against the Nilfgaard in the south. Then coming down to episode 2, Dream of a Wish Fulfilled. This all began with Yennefer, who started a recruitment of powerful mages and elves across the continent. So she began by recruiting Philippian, a powerful witch that can turn to birds alongside with other powers she possesses. Then after which she went to visit Figeria, one of the most powerful as well. She convinced her insane reasons in joining their campaign against Vodavots. Fortunately for her, she agreed to her terms. While the Vodavots, he manipulated Aelred in giving him all the secrets of portal blockage which he used against Yennefer and other mages. On the other hand, Geralt and his team on their way to the south in search for Ciri, they fought too many monsters such as Fingard, and then later on they came across a vampire. This vampire, he hosted them in his home, fed them and treated them of their injuries, and finally he decided to join them in their quest. This vampire known as Regis, he also gave Geralt a powerful potion that boosted his abilities in battles. Then to episode 3, the Tower of Ordeal. Yennefer continued her search and recruitment of powerful mages and elves. Then she came to the most powerful elf, Francesca, who was so reluctant in joining her, but later on she agreed to her terms. Then in another region of the continent, Ciri, who is now known as Farkau, she and her gangs of rats, they robbed a high-profile person named Jidal. This attracted a huge bounty hunting on their head. Finally, Yennefer recruitment was completed, and they include Sabina, Philippa, Asra, Figeria, Sima, Francesca, Vasmin and his powerful witches and other unnamed mages as well. Then Figeria, she was tasked to infiltrate Vegforth's household, but unfortunately her cover was blown and Vegforth imprisoned her alongside with Istrat. Meanwhile, Geralt and his team, they finally reached the refugee camp to deliver the girl Bianta to her family. There they got another new member to their team, a powerful dwarf known as Yape. On their way out of this camp, then the Nilfgaards attacked, and in the process, Bianta was killed, and then Geralt and Jaski were captured. Then to episode 4, the Semyon of Survival. In this episode, Regis the vampire came to the rescue of Geralt and Jaski to unite them with their other team members, while at Atuza, Yennefer and all the invited mages, elves and witches, they all planned for their defense against the incoming attacks from Vodavots. Then Vasmin, the head of the witches, he trained the mages as well, and every plan of preparation was going accordingly. Vasmin promised to keep Vagfors by himself for all that he has done to Geralt. Then on the other end, Ciri, she later disclosed to her bestie, Misty, one of the rats, her true identity of being a family member of Geralt and Yennefer. But this season ended with the escape of Geralt and his team members from the refugee camp that was under the attack of the Nilfgaards. Then to episode 5, The Joy of Cooking. In this episode, Geralt and Cahill, they started building a bit of trust among each other. Then with time, everyone discovered that the princess with Emily, that she wasn't Ciri, rather an imposter. As Geralt and his crew were resting, they decided to cook a delicious soup. And in this moment of joy, they shared their story with each other, beginning with the dwarfs, Yapel, and then Zonda. Then the arrow lady, Marvel, then Jaskel, the singer, to Regis the vampire, and finally Cahill the ex-soldier. With their stories, they all discovered that it was destiny that brought the 8 of them together for this noble cause. Then Geralt also disclosed his dream of becoming a knight before he became a witcher. Finally, this episode ended with Figeria revealing to Vogovots the hiding place of the remaining mages at Motokova, but this was after a severe torture on her. Then to episode 6, Twilight of the Wolf. After Figeria disclosed this information, she immediately contacted Yennefer to alert her that Vogovots is coming to attack them. Then the battle began with a new group of mages that teamed up to shield Motokova from incoming attacks. But after a long time of shielding, the magic of Vogovots was able to scatter their shield. Then him and his evil witches, they all descended into Motokova. That was the beginning of this battle, which was quite a very bloody one. Then in this battle, they lost Margarita, and Vogovots mages were using the power of disappearance to escape attacks. Then Figeria, who was able to break free from her chains, and with the help of Istred, They were able to disable the portal blockages and destroyed its magic book, but Istrid died in the process. This restored Yennefer and her mages the ability to use portals and disappearance. Then Vogelfors used the portal abilities to trap Yennefer and her other mages in an underground to burn them off with fire. But before that, Vesmi battled the Vogelfors in a single combat. Despite Vesmi was able to injure him deeply, but unfortunately, Vesmi did not make it alive. He died in that battle. But it wasn't over because with the help of Philippa and the portal blockages that were now disabled, Yennefer and her mages they finally defeated Vogelfors and his evil witches, but Vogelfors was able to escape. Down to episode 7, What I Love, I Do Not Carry. After the battle, Yennefer teleported into Emerald's castle to rescue her daughter Ciri, but only to discover that it was an imposter inside the castle. Meanwhile, Geralt and his crew they were still on their way to Emerald Castle to rescue Ciri. Then they passed through a shortcut filled with water and swamp. There they had a massive attack. Two swarmy creatures called the Roska. They captured all of them and demanded the answer to a riddle. This riddle was, what I love, I do not carry. What I nurture, I do not feed. And what I live and die for is not mine alone. What am I? But finally, Gareth was able to get the answer, which was, I am a father. At this point, the spirits were freed and all of Gareth's friends they returned. As they continued their journey and Yennefer was returning from the south, so they ran into each other. Geralt and Yennefer then united once again and spent the night together after a long while. But in the morning she departed back to Motokova in order to join the other mages in building back Athulza. While Yappa and Percival they left on their own path to Markham. And Milva, who was heavy with a child inside her, she also left for her own path. Then Scarlen, the loyal servant of Emery, then enlightened Emery and his wizard that in two parallel destiny, only one can bear fruit. So in order for Emery to truly claim Ciri, the witcher who is already destined to her, that he must die. Finally, the episode ended with Farcow abandoning the rats to find her own path after they went to kidnap a child for money and she discovered that they worked for the White Flame. Finally to the episode 8, Baptism of Fire. In the final episode of this season, Geralt and his group used a boat to cross over to Nilfgaard, but during the crossover they ran into a battle between the Rivia versus Nilfgaard. During that battle, Mivir she returned to rejoin Geralt and his group in helping the Rivia against the Nilfgaards. As Yennefer returned back to Montecova, then she and the other mages gathered to form a new sisterhood in order to protect Aretuza from future attacks, after which she went after in search of Vogelfort in order to finish him off while he was still wounded. Then to the other part of the story, when Ciri heard that the rats were going to battle Yobohad, she knew that this was a dead wish, so she rode back to help them. But on her arrival, Yobohad has already killed every member of the rats. Then he battled with Ciri, but unfortunately he defeated Ciri as well. But Ciri managed to remain alive. Finally, after Geralt and his group helped Queen Mavel of Rivia to defeat the Graveguards to secure the bridge, then she made Geralt a Knight of Rivia, as he has always wished. I will be concluding this movie review by saying that this movie season 4 of The Witcher episode 1 to 8, it is so nice and awesome. A lot of scenarios which are expected in this movie actually took place, such as the battle between Vogelfors against the witches, the reunion of Geralt and Yennefer, despite it was a very short one, the introduction of other supernatural beings like vampires and so much more. At the same time, I felt sad in some other scenarios, such as the death of Vesmi. And also, Serene, she was not able to unite with Geralt and Yennefer. But anyway, it is a seasonal movie and a lot are yet to be unlocked. So coming to the rating of this movie, I'm giving this movie 9 over 10. This movie is so nice and catching and interesting and whatever you want to say, it is so positive. So for me, that is just it for my Blockbuster TV. So finally, we have come to the end of this movie's podcast, and I want to thank you all guys for spending your time with us in this content. So thank you so much again, and I hope that you enjoyed it and you have understood this movie better than before. So if you want to tell us anything, please drop it down in the comment section and also like and share our videos. So guys, thank you so much again. I can't wait to see you in our next movies podcast by next week. Take care of yourself and bye.